Welcome back to the Nullified Take channel on YouTube, where we've got the TNT takes for you on Survivor 47. That is right. I'm your host, Chris, back with my main alliance member. He's part of the breadwinners here on the Nullified Take channel, Kahuna. How you doing?
Yes, sir. Doing well, man. After sorting out my tech issues that I would 100% blame on Tom as well, Gabe. But yeah, I had some microphone issues, but we are on and I'm back. Thank you for your patience. I'm excited to talk about a very interesting name, or at least what you chose to call this episode title.
Yeah. Well, listen,
You're,
I
you're
know
all
that
in.
I'm
You called it
all
from the
in
get-go.
on Rome, man. Like, I feel like Rome is making Survivor great again. Like, on his own, he's bringing it back. I don't feel like we deserve to have Q and Rome in back-to-back seasons. And, we love to absolutely crap on production when they get all these quitters to play the game that quit. But let's give them credit when they get it right. Let's give them credit when they finally cast someone that, I don't know how he slipped through the cracks, because Jeff said not that long ago he wasn't ever going to cast villains again. But we got one. We got a really, really good villain back on our TV. We've got an old school reality TV character back on our TV that they just don't cast for people like this anymore, to be honest.
Not on shows like this, anyway. I'm sure
Nah.
there's plenty of shows on, some of the F-Boy Islands of the world and things like that. You'll
Yeah.
find many douchebags, much like Rome.
Oh. Yeah, I have a feeling we're going to be in the opposite spectrums here on this one. I just feel like people on Survivor have gotten so soft, and the audience who watch Survivor has gotten so soft that they just can't take someone like Rome being on their screens. Like, is he really that much worse than some of the villains that we've had in the past? Or has
No.
the movement just been there that we have to all play Kumbaya?
No. See, here's my thing with Rome, right? First of all, let me say, I agree with you that he has been phenomenal. He's an amazing character.
Yeah.
But I can't separate, or I can separate. We talk about this all the time, but I also know that when I say douchebag, I don't mean from the villainous side. I don't think he's that bad of a person. I just think the way he's always going on about himself, how he's the best, how he can do everything. For me, that would be like the most grating. Like, to me, the biggest winner out of all of this is not Rome. It's the patience of soul to sit there next to this man, tell him how to play the game, just pressing right on his aura and pulling every little bit of patience. I like how Soul actually said, especially someone his size don't talk to me like people don't talk to me like that. People his size don't talk to me like that. And that he's just pulling everything that he can muster not to break this person. And that's where I'm relating. I'm like, oh my God, he would be so annoying. But I don't mean villainous. Like, I don't think he's a bad person. He's just that loud, brash, full of himself. I said douchebag, but
so perfect for reality TV, though. So I feel like you're agreeing with me.
Absolutely. Like, when I say douchebag, I almost mean it in almost like a loving way. Like, you know what I mean?
I get where you're coming from. It was just there was so much power behind your words when you said douchebag, that I was like, give the guy a break. Like, I agree with you on a lot of these things. Like, the thing with Rome is, I feel like he sometimes, he definitely has shown a lot of weaknesses to his game. I'm not coming in here saying that Rome is like the next mastermind, he's the next Boston Rob or anything like that. But I am saying that he is one of the next, if not the biggest character. If this guy goes into the merge, if he keeps finding these advantages, if he keeps being obnoxious, I think that he's just going to be a larger than life character. The people won't, he reminds me of a new age coach. Coach the first season was obnoxious. Coach the first season was someone that a lot of people didn't get along with, right? So I definitely get where you're coming from. Would I want to live with Rome and the way that he treated if I was sold? No, 100% wouldn't want to. But you know what makes Rome so good and what makes Survivor good? Survivor's kind of like pizza, like when it's good, it's really, really good. And I feel like we're in that pocket right now. And I hope that Jeff listens to some of the audience, because I know even he is probably like, he can't believe he casted this guy right now, because this guy's gone off the script. Rome has gone off the script. He's not the cookie cutter, safe, casting choice that Jeff has become used to in the new era. And you could tell even in the tribal council, he was put aback a couple of times by Rome, because I don't know if he knows how to deal with people like this in the cast anymore. But I hope that he can, get past his comfort zone of giving us people that are game bots, that will never do anything controversial, who cares about social media, who cares about the following, which I don't think Rome cares. Rome is like, I'm here to play this game as hard as I can to get to the end, and I'm going to leave no stone unturned. And that is the kind of castaways that we just don't get anymore, Kerner. That's why I'm excited. That's why the title is, Survivor New Era is alive and kicking, and it's got a name on it. It's all roads lead to Rome at the moment.
Survivor Rome. I do think I agree. I think he's an amazing character. I think what he's bringing is phenomenal. I think even the way he's playing, not just his brash over the top personality, but the way he's playing, like using the Steeler vote to threaten and manipulate, and like actually leverage it properly and actually play the game. You're right. He is,
and then giving us in the contrast, that was such a savvy, good move. Like, yes, he definitely didn't deliver the message to Sol right, but the intention was correct in the way he wanted to play it. But he was like, he took a hammer to something where he just needed to be a little bit more delicate. And then in the very same episode, he's the guy that will not get his ass up off the ground away from the puzzle when he couldn't fit a single piece. Like, you cannot script it.
Oh my
you cannot
God.
script these situations.
There's if this is the episode of the Nullified Take where we're a little bit loose, so we talk about some of the more out there topics rather than just a straight recap.
Yeah,
row through, man. That was a straight throw from. I'm watching.
I feel like he threw.
Is no one going to mention that he just threw away the game, like he intentionally lost? I felt like. He didn't get one piece on there.
Intentional. Like, he's literally taking pieces that will never fit, and he's trying 5 different variations. It's like, no ways this guy is not throwing this challenge. No ways.
But why don't And then when Genevieve was bringing the pieces, he's like, one at a time, slow down. Really? What are you talking about? But no one mentioned it. Like, I feel like when on Australian Survivor last year, again, we bring up Australian Survivor, but there was where they bring it up. Garrick was like all over. Who were they? The freaking the good looking alliance at the start. Throwing that challenge.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
And they picked up on it. They bring it up. It makes it to the edit. Like, I feel like it was so obvious. Surely people at camp had to say something. Like, did Rome just throw that challenge? Like, it wasn't even a thing.
Well, apparently Gabe is saying Rome had said already that he didn't throw the puzzle. He's just bad at it.
Wow.
And it's just he just doubled down on that self-awareness piece where he's
then that's worse, right?
Is that worse? What made me feel so bad? Because obviously I didn't know the outcome of the episode. I felt so bad for Sol after carrying the early part of this challenge. Like, he basically got them there first. And he's like, do you guys want to tag in? Do you want me to he's like the A player. He's like the Michael Jordan of that tribe. And he's being told, no, you sit on the bench, Michael. We'll let the goon squad take over here.
And he's, again, Sol has the absolute patience of a saint. To not just
he's a good guy.
Up that person.
But the thing is, here's my question to you, right? And this is why I'm so in on Rome and having controversial characters. Would Rome just have been would Sol just have been another boring character on a season without Rome? I think he does. Like, this is what Jeff does need to understand. Like, variety is the spice of life. Having people that are controversial, having people that go up against, this shows us different sides of human behavior. It shows us when someone's under pressure, like Sol, how does he react? So I feel like you almost, maybe we would have, but I almost feel like you wouldn't see Sol's soul as pure as it is and how good he is, if you didn't have the contrast of Rome being an absolute wrecking ball.
100%. And you're right. I like that. I think that I'm talking about how Sol's patience is so saint-like, and for him to put up with it and stuff. But without Rome there, then that patience and that zen-like attitude and the peacefulness that Sol has to draw on is just boring.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
it's kind of like us without this wrecking ball here, Mucky. Like, without without Mucky, we're just two people who make a complete load of sense on this podcast, and everybody would just be like, the Nullified Take channel is going to take over. But Mucky he knocks us down a couple of pegs, keeps us humble whenever he
Our
comes
very
onto
own
the
Rome.
podcast.
I came in like a wrecking ball. Yeah, I'm here, babies.
Welcome to the podcast. I do want to bring up a couple of comments before we go to you, because we've been going on a tangent for a solid 11 minutes here about how great Rome is. And I know you'll have your own opinions about Rome very soon as well, Mucky. But Gabe here is saying Rome is great TV. Gabe is also saying Survivor has literally had racist and inappropriate touchy guys on it before Kuna. I think Kuna immediately afterwards corrected himself on what his thoughts were around Rome. Taku said Rome in a 2-tribe format would steamroll. Totally agree with that. Rome is someone the audience reacts to. That's great TV like wrestling. Rome has said that he didn't throw the challenge. And then Scott, welcome back to the channel, said, got here a few minutes late, loving this season. Scott, it is on its way, mate. It is on its, I would say Survivor 45 has competition at this stage. Taku is saying Rome is the kind of guy to be bad at puzzles. I can imagine him saying this piece must fit. And then Gabe saying Kyle, long lost brother, appears. Mucky.
Was there a blue team this episode?
Is there?
Yeah. Mucky's favorite team is the blue team, by the way. Mucky, why do you love the blue team so much?
Oh, well, it's because our most popular room at Odyssey Sensory Maze is the foam pit. And just like the foam, it's blank, it's numb, it's just a pale color. And I feel like that's just everyone on the blue tribe in general. It's just blank, it's just bland. No one really gives two craps about it, really. But, it's there, and people just have fun.
Yeah, let me show people what you sent us before coming onto the podcast. Very excited, obviously, to talk about it, if I can get it up on my screen.
Just don't show the argument Tom and I had afterwards.
It's not appropriate to bring up?
I mean, you can if you want, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to get us in trouble. I don't always know. Tell us a little bit about your thoughts on Rome in the meantime, though, while I get this loaded up.
I love Rome. I mean, a complaint I've had for, especially New Era Survivor, for the longest time is that there's no such thing as a personality when it comes to these contestants. And I'm just so excited. Oh, yeah, there we go.
These foam pieces are just as interesting as the blue tribe. That's shots fired. That was, they've got family members, Mucky, who watch the show. They may come across this podcast. You got to think about the family members and how they would feel. You're telling them that their loved ones are no better than any of those foam pieces in the screen shot.
Sorry, just give me 1 second. I'm just trying to find anyone who actually asked or cared, eh? I can't really see anyone in sight. I guess no one just cares, Chris. Gosh, there's no one around me who cares about the Blue Tribe's family members because they're just bland.
It sounded very threatening to me, Mucky.
I mean, Sue had a pretty interesting episode, I thought. At least an interesting moment, anyway.
Yeah. I do want to get back to it, but sorry, we interrupted Mucky's train of thought on Rome. So tell us while we're on the Rome subject, what do you think of having Rome this season? Villainous character finally. Production let one slip in. Obviously, they don't want to cast villains, but they somehow missed that this guy was going to be villainous, and I'm loving it. I'm loving the fact that Jeff is uncomfortable having a villain back on the show. What do you think about having Rome on the show?
Yeah, well, I love it. It's as I was saying to earlier, Rome, I feel like, is a bright personality that I've been wanting to see on a New Era season of Survivor for so long, but they haven't had any, but now they finally do. And I'm loving everything he's doing. He doesn't care what Sol thinks of him, right? He's going to tell him every corner of that island if he has to. And I love it, right? Because you've got to do what you got to do in order to maintain you and your alliance to stay in the game, right? And he's doing literally everything he can, right? If everyone praises Tony for, sprinting around like a mad dog all night and making fires to find idols and spying on people and stuff.
Shouting llama noises at people.
Yeah, exactly. Because I've seen some hate for Rome online. So I've been like, oh, he was bullying Sol. He was so mean to Sol and stuff. If everyone loves Tony for what he does, then yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He's saving Survivor. We completely agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I said it. And I hope that whoever casted him doesn't get fired. I hope that whoever casted him gets promoted, because I know Jeff said he didn't want villains, and someone slipped him in there. Someone slipped him into the show, and I'm here for it. Kahuna obviously spoke about Soul being such a great guy, and I said, he's kind of amplified Soul in some ways, because Soul's got to balance out the whole Rome of it all. I do want to pivot though, because we've given a lot of Rome love. People that don't like, I'm sure half of the audience don't like, maybe even more than half of the audience don't like Rome, because he is going to be one of those controversial characters, the ones that I love the most. But let's move on to a couple of other people. We spoke a little bit about the Blue Tribe. Kahuna, you brought up Sue. Sue's quest for power in this game. How impressed were you with her going on the hunt for the idol, finding a full powered idol? Something that her compatriot couldn't do. Gabe could. Who was it? Gabe?
Yeah, Gabe.
Yes,
Yeah,
Gabe.
couldn't find a full powered one.
This is cool. I actually kind of like the mechanic of like, it's very heavy-handed or literally red-handed by production, but that, again, it's a bit on the nose, very, very obvious, but you can literally get caught red-handed. I kind of like that. Like, it's such a difficult thing to clean up and stuff as well. So I think the risk to reward ratio was kind of right there, considering that it was literally freaking red paint right near the well. I was like looking at it going, where the hell is this tribe? Like, why did she have 4 hours to clean up here? I don't understand what is happening.
Did she need to clean it up though? Did she?
Just leave it for people to find, and like as soon as you get it, go straight in the water and clean everything, like face, hair,
clean yourself. Clean yourself, get the hell out of the area, and then let chaos consume the rest of the tribe. Everybody sort of questioning each other as to who's got the idol. Everybody knows it's like a whodunit mystery. If you think about Caroline, that's what Caroline did a couple of seasons ago with the birdcage idol, and it created so much friction within the tribe, and she was sitting back, no one expecting Caroline to be the one with the idol. I don't think anybody thought Sue, like they've underestimated, like she rightfully said, everybody's underestimating me. I'm the old woman. I'm not the one that's going to be able to do these things. I don't think anybody was going to point a finger at her, Kuna. So I would say it was a missed opportunity. Mucky, you love chaos. What would you have done? Would you have cleaned up the evidence or leave it there to create some mystery?
Well, I guess just one real thing. The 24-hour medevac rule, is that only for Australian Survivor? Or you can be out of the game?
Only for Australian Survivor. If you get medevaced out of the US, you're out.
Oh, okay, because I was going to say, like, if people are coming, just lie in it. Pretend you're bleeding out. And let production take you away. Like, oh, gosh, I stabbed myself with a machete. I'm dying. Oh,
massacre. And then you come back 24 hours later.
I'm fine. I've got no cuts or scratches. I don't know where it came from, but I'm fine.
You know what made me laugh, Kahuna? I don't know why. Every time I look at Caroline in that tribe, she gives me Laurel vibes. I'm like traumatized. Like there's a facial feature that's very much like Laurel from the challenge.
Eyes,
and
man.
It's something, and it throws me off. But when they were walking away after they confronted Sue, and Caroline is like, she's kind of scaring me. She was standing there with the machete. I don't know. Like, what did they think she did? She cut herself? Like,
yeah. What was your interpretation? First of all, when you said she should have left it, clean yourself, the way she was lying and how bad she was at it, I don't think she'd have any shot if she tried to go down that route. Leave it open and let it be a mystery. She was standing there like behind the well, like, no, it's good. I cut myself with a machete and then I bit my tongue and I can't move because it looked like she didn't have pants on or something. And she's like stuck behind the well and wouldn't move. Like for her to be able to, well, I mean, I don't blame that. She couldn't see it, but you got to go in the water or something, right? Like you can't just like
you get away from the crime scene as quickly as possible and you go clean yourself up, leave it there. There's no detective on this island.
The way she was lying, man, she would have been done. Like, and the fact that she told, by the way, as far as lies go, I think the most insane lie I've ever seen on Survivor is her trying to get away with being 45.
Like, there's no way, right? She doesn't look a day
I'm
over
44.
60.
I'm 44. Please tell me I don't look like that.
No. And she's like, I'm doing a good job. None of these people know that I'm 58. And I'm like, they know. They're just not saying anything. They're being kind. Like,
but the funny thing is, to the people that are like, to Mucky, like 44 might as well be 50. Like, they don't give a you're old. Like, if
Yeah,
you're
you're
over,
old.
it doesn't matter. 44, 68, whatever. It's just you're old. Like, they're
Yeah.
just bucketing you in there. Like, it doesn't matter specific. She's like, I'm 45. Like, I think she just wanted to hear that she could get away with 45. But
Yeah, ego thing.
Yeah.
When she said that, I was like, is it really much of a difference? Like, I don't see it being that big of a difference.
Gona's like stabbed to the heart right there, Mucky. Oh no.
Oh god.
Yeah. Very, very interesting dynamic also on the Red Tribe with the Breadwinner Alliance coming about. And then a lot of talk about the fact that they thought that Sam was in a relationship with Sierra, right? And in some ways, it's actually having like whatever has happened there with Annika coming back and saying this to them. They're like, why did she have to say it? It's having an effect on that alliance where she's second guessing that alliance. She's now got one foot into the Breadwinner Alliance. She's got the other foot into the alliance with Andy and Sam. And she could go either way at this moment in the game. And I found it very interesting that she would tell Andy without telling Sam about it. Bad gameplay by Sierra, but also I felt like bad gameplay by Sam to go and confront her about it to her face. Like, is the right thing to do, Mucky, when you're in an alliance with someone, they've got a secret that they've told one part of your alliance, they haven't told you about it yet. Do you hold on to that information to see when they actually come up to you and let you know? So you're kind of in on the information and you're one step ahead of them? Or do you make them aware that that they've withheld information from you? What's the right move here?
Well, I mean, you got to look at this from another angle, right? It's like Sam and Sierra together. Andy's a social pariah who they've picked up, right, to make as a third to be a majority, right? So you've got Andy who's at the far bottom. Why is she telling him secrets, but not me when we're the alliance, but he's just a other number we've picked up, right? So kind of from that angle, I kind of understand. It's like, wait, am I just being, further, pushed away, or like what's happening, right? And I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like if either of us were in a tight two, like you should be able to have those honest conversations where you kind of call each other out, like, hey, like
I think he should have. I think personally, he should have waited on it. Kahuna, and I'd be interested in your thoughts on it as well. I think that you don't immediately, because what you've done in this moment is Andy has shown some trust to come to you about this. Obviously, you want to keep Andy in the game, but I don't feel like you should force the conversation. I think he came out of emotion, maybe feeling like I'm being replaced in this tight two, or she's potentially going somewhere else and she hasn't let me know about it, so I need to force the conversation. I don't feel like he should have addressed it there and then. Maybe wait a little bit on it, sit on it, like they say, have the night, sleep on it. If you still feel the same way the next day, then go and approach her, because it's not time critical. They weren't going to tribal council this episode.
Yeah, definitely overplayed it. And I think it's the right call that it was out of emotion. He's seeing Sierra as his number one. And like Mucky said, Andy is his like Sierra's his proper number one, but Andy's is like I'm taking him along because he's a number that I can use, right? And then all of a sudden he's not her number one, or he's thinking he's not that because of whatever reason. He's hearing about breadwinners, he's hearing about a female alliance, and then also the fact that he's not getting the info from her, he's getting it from Andy. He's like levels down and he's freaking out. Information is power in this game. And he got some information here that he should have been able to, if you're right, if he sat on it, maybe there might be a way to leverage it better, be able to use it somehow than just confronting for the sake of hurt feelings. You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
I think that's essentially what it was. Like, why you got other people? It was jealousy, which doesn't help the fact that he was like, Hannah, there's nothing going on, I swear. And then he's like, gets real jealous when she's got other people.
Yeah. Interesting. Gabe says here, Jeff has said that he hated the box idol because most of them went for one tribal, one production just hit a normal one afterwards. And it's like, I don't understand. Like, I guess in theory, when you're sitting there and you've got the drawing board in front of you before the season, you're like, oh, these people are going to jump through 50 hoops to get an idol that's going to get them to the final five. But you're starving these people from any kind of nutrition. Like, it's worse than what it's ever been on Survivor. I don't think they've got the energy to go and run to do 3 different tasks to get a full powered idol. And I will be honest, for me, it's not necessarily that entertaining. Like, I want people to have idols in the game so that they can use it. I guess there's one part of it that is good. If it forces you to play it earlier, at least you know it's going to happen pre-merge, and we're going to flush idols out before you get to the merge, right, Mucky? Talk me through the pros and cons of the box idol, and do you think we should see it again?
No, absolutely not. I think like all these different twist advantages and stuff like that, and here's a unique way about the idol. Here's like the beads, or say the phrases, or having a book. Just have a normal one, Like sometimes I feel like just having a normal idol can just do just so much more damage than one that's got like an expiry date on it, or you got to get this and that, or you got to go through all these different hoops and hurdles and whatnot. Just have a normal powered idol, right? And like I feel like only very rarely can a short-term idol actually do a lot of damage, which is what happened in episode 3 with Asia, right?
Yeah.
I don't think she goes home unless if Rome's like, not only do I have an idol, but I have a stealer vote as well. I feel like he pretty much strong-armed, what's his name, Teeny?
Especially in the tribe of 6.
Yeah, exactly. He strong-armed them with a one-time idol and a stealer vote to get his way on the vote. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's only like a rare time a short time idol can actually really do anything. Otherwise, it's just like Gabe's. It's just a waste.
Yeah. Now, I know we didn't get to talk much about last week's episode, but this is the good thing about not recapping anything specifically here. We can just quickly touch on it. Kahuna, people were in mourning when Asia left online. A lot of people felt like we lost the legend here very early on. Did you get that feeling that Asia was going to be that big of a character based on what we saw in the edited show?
No.
Yeah, it's the RHAP community was standing solidly behind her, I feel like. Because for me as well, it's like, they were all hating on Rome, and I'm like, listen, Rome's been delivering. I haven't seen anything from Asia yet. Maybe she is great, but we didn't see it, No.
Look, I'm not coming even willing to bend. I'm not trying to provoke RHAP and have a TNT RHAP like turf war or something. Like, that's not what we're doing. But we didn't see too much of it. I unfortunately, I don't think we see that a lot in Survivor, where you get a feeling about someone, you probably know they're a lot more competent than what we got given, circumstances, whatever it may be. You get people that you go, oh, like, I reckon they would have been really smart and really good had they been able to
with Asia, we had the evidence though. Like, Teeny was basically spelling it out to her.
Yeah.
You need to jump on board. If you don't, you're out. And she was like, nah, do what I'm going to do or what I want to do.
Yeah, true.
I mean, she didn't do the numbers. I'm like, how can you try and strong arm? You don't have, you're not from a position of power, Mucky.
Something as well is that I feel like Teeny and Kashan, is that how it says his name? Kashan? I feel like they made a terrible move.
Horrible move.
Like, it goes to show, we've discussed about this with Andy, where these players don't have any ounce of resilience or backbone to actually go against the grain, right? If this was Australian Survivor South Africa, they're splitting the votes between Rome and Genevieve, right? It's like, cool, you can play your idol, but your ally is still going home, and we'll get you next time. What did these players do? Cave in straight away. What a bunch of wussies.
Yeah. But should you be giving credit for
the fallout?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely. But maybe there's two truths here. Like, if you look at Genevieve's gameplay this week, she had them all fooled. Like, are we underestimating? Is it Genevieve that is actually the top tier player, and Rome is maybe the weapon she is going to wield throughout this game as she runs to the end? I kind of saw a bit of Kim Spradlin in her from the early stages in her preseason when I did my whole cast assessment. And then for the first couple of episodes, we didn't really see any confessionals from her, but she came alive in this episode, really being the one that orchestrated everything here, Kahuna, in this episode for the blind side on Kishan.
Look, we're very harsh on Survivor production a lot of the times. And I think one of the biggest travesties of the season so far is the fact that Genevieve playing such a crucial role in this whole bit here, and really, like you said, shining, to get a freaking purple edit the last however many episodes, it feels so crazy to me. 3 episodes when this is like what they knew this was coming. They knew this was
Yeah.
all going to happen, and then to not give any kind of introductions to like a
But
little
did
bit
they
of
take
something.
did they take a leave from Australian Survivors editors? You know, where this is exactly the right time for the winner to pick their head up. You know, after the first 3-4 episodes.
Maybe.
I'm joking.
Maybe.
I'm trying
Because
to provoke Mucky into saying something, but he's not biting.
but she played
Gosh.
that phenomenally. Like I think it's a combination of like Mucky said, Kashan and Teeny really underplayed it. They didn't like see that coming from her at all. I think they kind of saw her as their third wheel because they seem to be. Teeny's a fan of the game. Kashan certainly seems very competent. He's a doctor. He's smart. And I don't think they were giving Genevieve any kind of respect at all and just saw her as the expendable third with them two. When Genevieve went, nuh-uh, like, I don't like that. Like, for Kashan to be like, how about Genevieve? Like, that thing where Rome was like, yeah, maybe. And then he goes back to her. Genevieve flips it. They gave her all this power and all this ability. And then, like, she kind of used it. Like, you know, that's awesome.
And it goes to show as well just how powerful a social game really is, right? Like Genevieve has built the strong relationship with Rome, where they're willing to protect each other, you know, go to line for each other. And I feel like there's something that a lot of Americans really miss out on these days is a social game. Like, it's all about strategy, flipping on alliances.
The biggest move is cutting your biggest alliance member, and apparently that makes you win the game in the US. That's like the winning strategy. Is if you cut your biggest alliance member, it is on your resume, and you then win the season. There was this narrative. I know you didn't watch it for a while, Mucky, but that was a narrative that ran over 3 or 4 seasons in the new era, where they're like, "Oh, we know how to win the show. We get close to someone, we cut them, we win the show."
Yeah, and I mean, I'm glad I didn't watch
it. Hasn't worked for many. I don't think it worked for any, actually, of the winners.
I'm glad I didn't watch it.
So Genevieve and Rome, you know, they're in a 4-2 minority, and now they're in the majority.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? Like, they're now controlling that tribe because they have a strong social connection.
So I've got a question for you based on this, and I do want to get back to the live audience because there's a couple of good questions that's come up. But Kahuna, can Genevieve mend this relationship between Sol and Rome? Was this the thing now where Rome went back to him and he said, I'm going to change things up. This is what I'm doing moving forward. I am sorry about what I said. I came across too strong. Do you see a universe where Sol becomes a strong member with both Genevieve and Rome moving forward in the game? Or do you just think that that is just a fracture there that will never be able to get mended between those two?
Sol will never like that man. Like, he will never, ever like this person. So I think I think Sol's smart enough to work with him. Obviously, when it's to his advantage, he was going home, or sure, I'll work with you, right? And now, you know, maybe it becomes a 2-2, Teeny and Sol versus.
He was smart enough not to play a shot in the dark as well.
Yeah, I mean, he went with he trusted him as well, which would have been so hard. Like every instinct in him must have been like, no, I hate this guy. I don't want to trust him. He's gonna backstab me. But he told me he's gonna do it. Like, luckily, like, Genevieve really did get Rome over, because Rome was gonna do that initially, but I can't see them mending it like long term anyway. Definitely not. As soon as Teeny and Sol can get a third, when there's the fake merge or whatever, if there's another option, I think he jumps at any opportunity.
Yeah, let me read a couple of comments and then we'll get into some more questions that I have. Sincere saying, I think the information about the breadwinners is important because I believe Andy throws Sierra under the bus to the women, naming their alliance, causing Sierra to be at the bottom and voted out. I want to see it sincere. If that is true, you can say that you said it here on the Nullified Take channel first. I want to see that happen. Andy is crafty, so I wouldn't put anything past him.
Is he? You reckon?
I think Andy, let me rephrase that. I feel like Andy is come leaps and bounds from where he started. Now, is he a klutz? 100%. The guy keeps losing his shot in the dark. It was hilarious to see Sam help him and things like that. But I do feel like when you start as low as he started, like, you can only go up from there. Like, I mean, imagine this guy getting to the final.
He's actually kind of in a good position. But I don't think it's because he's crafty. I think it's circumstantial. The way the rest of the tribe has fallen around him, he's in a good position.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Gabe is saying Sierra and Sam fighting over whose other options stay. Now Sierra knows she can't use Andy. Better to cut off Sam's options, keep her backups that want to work with her. The only problem for her is Sam's got the idol. Gabe is saying, I like Rome's advantages, but fear in Teeny and Kashan. Now Kashan paid for that. Teeny has to climb out of the hole they dug themselves in. And this is what I want to talk about. Teeny. Like, they've been a bright spark for this season. I do like Teeny. I think Teeny is another great casting character for the show, larger than life kind of personality. He came in, said, I want to play this villainous game, struggling with the fact that they had to vote out Asia, which was tough for them because they're a fan of the Rob Has a Podcast community. Goes on this journey, gets the amulet, discloses that information to everybody. Does the fact that she's got the amulet idol, Mucky, does it put a target on her back now with Rome and Genevieve? Or does it actually, do they look at that like they should and say, we could wield that, we could use that, we need that in our alliance because we're probably going to go down in numbers heading into the merge? How would you play it, Mucky, if you were there? And is there hope for Teeny?
Well, I mean, I guess it really does come down to if Rome and Sol can at least mend a short-term like peace treaty, right? I think if they can form that peace treaty, then Teeny is gone. If they can't, then Sol is gone. I don't think Rome or Genevieve is going to be in trouble until tribe swap or the fake merge or whatnot. So if I was Rome and Genevieve, I'd take out Teeny just because that's still an unknown factor. Right? It's is Teeny then gonna flip and then have an idol with, Andy and what's her name? Caroline, yeah. Caroline, yeah. To have an idol with them, is she gonna flip because of that? Or is she gonna stay with us? Who knows? You might as well get rid of that unknown. Because sometimes, what is it? The enemy you know is better than the enemy you don't. You go, At least you know that Sol will flip on you at some point, but you don't know with Teeny. So get rid of an unknown factor, but keep all the known factors around you.
I think it's going to come down to Teeny and Genevieve having that conversation back at the island where she said, I'll let you in on why I did this when we get back to camp. And just Genevieve is going to be the decision maker, I think, between those two, depending on how well Teeny can sell it. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you think, Kuna, of the amulet? What did you think of the amulet idol? Did you like this twist? That I'm not a big fan of Decision Island personally, but where are you on this amulet idol?
I'm not a fan. But so much of it is they put these twists in that are potentially however many episodes away that require this to actually First of all, they all need to get there, right? They all need to get to the merge for it even to be a thing. They all need to decide to get it's all these hurdles for that make it more difficult to actually play, and I don't think it adds much.
And you know what? I think it's really why I think it's not successful. Again, is because of Decision Island. Every time someone goes to Decision Island and they come back, they have to tell a story, and they've played this now for how many seasons? 7 seasons straight in a row. So it's very hard to come back and lie and say, oh, there was nothing there. We just had food. Everybody knows that's a lie. Everybody knows you're going to play a game. Everybody knows you're either losing your vote or you'll get given an idol, So I feel like, again, we're lacking creativity when we bring things like an amulet idol into it. I'd much rather have it be as a part of a reward where people have to go and eat food and discover an advantage together or something where it's kind of like hidden, Mucky, where people are not aware. But I feel like it's so open. Like everybody knows you go to Decision Island, you get something.
Yeah, well, not to bash on American Survivor production again, but I definitely will. Something that I was talking about with Michelle is
it's the first time today. We've been positive the whole night. It's 39 minutes in. I think that's really good.
It's everything is the exact same. The challenges are in the same 3 spots in Fiji. You've got the open water, you've got the beach where they do the rice negotiation, and then you have the forest strip. Nothing else. Those exact same 3 locations. The journey's on the exact same island. The tribes are in the exact same places, exact same colors pretty much every single season, except maybe one's a little bit brighter blue or a little bit darker blue. All the tribe names are the same 4-letter words and stuff. Everything is the exact same. And I saw an argument as well. It's but American Survivor's been nominated for an Emmy, but it hasn't won an Emmy. You get what I mean? And
Yeah, but I
because
can
it's the
understand
exact
why.
same.
There's a lack of creativity when it comes to the
Yeah,
production side of
exactly.
it. Like, for instance, I saw Coach Drew from the Nullified Take channel posted somewhere about, hey, take that, all you new era haters. Like, look at how good Survivor is right now. But I think again, there's a point that people don't understand, right? And Coach is completely like, I love the fact that he's got a different take on it. He's entitled to that take. We love all of the different takes on the Nullified Take channel. I don't think that for me, it's just when the cast is good, because some seasons the cast is good, some seasons the cast isn't good. Last season for me, the cast was below par. This season, the cast they've been delivering, but they're delivering this in spite of the production team not innovating and being creative and doing a lot of different things, right? So for me, that doesn't give them a pass to say, yes, we're completely dominating. The new era is dominant, right? Because we still get the 26-day season. We still get the same 3 tribes. We still get Decision Make Island. There's still things that we can't turn a blind eye to, Kahuna, that we've been smashed by season after season, right?
Yeah, like, I mean, I get where Coach Drew is coming from. Like, we are overall positive on the season so far, but it's a pretty low bar when you're saying new era, right? Like, and even then, like, you go, this is great, but and there's so many positives that are coming out of it, but it still doesn't meet what we're seeing in Australian Survivor. Like, even its highs are not as good as,
even the strategy is not close.
Yeah. So all that sort of thing. And I think the biggest thing is, like you said, production, they can get the cast right. But like, one of the biggest memes in Australia is Por qué no los dos? Why can't we have both? Why are you like, look at this cast. This is an amazing cast. So don't worry about everything else. Right?
Yeah, look
Why
away from
can't you get an amazing cast and push the boundaries and try new shit and like do things different? Like, why are you relying so much? Because, like you said, last season the cast was the downside or below par. What if there wasn't a Rome? What would we
exactly?
be
What if
looking
Rome
at?
gets voted out next episode? What if I would say, who would you say at the moment are like the people that would make you want to tune in and watch? I'd say probably Andy,
Yeah,
Rome.
for the wrong reasons, right?
Yeah, but again, we spoke about this. Andy, again, you want to see what he's going to do next. You want to, you kind of, it's like that thing
Banu of this season.
You can't help. You're like, I don't want to watch, but I want to watch. Like, what is Andy going to do next? Is it going to be awkward? I bet you it's going to be awkward, right? But he's going to draw attention to the show. So I'd say Andy, Rome, maybe Gabe. But outside of that, I don't know. Sam, maybe Sam's kind of fun, but again, he's just like your stereotypical, very strategic kind of player. I don't know. Teeny's fun, but can Teeny carry the show? I don't know.
We might find out. We'll see. Hopefully not, but it might be a thing. Yeah.
May it never happen. May Rome go all the way to the end and be a final bit of juror, like lose to the final bit of jury.
Well, let's quickly.
Go, Mark.
I'll just quickly say this: if Rome wins this season, do you think Jeff will maybe look at casting it a different way on potentially getting more like somewhat villainous characters on the show? Because if Rome dominates all the way, do you reckon Jeff will look there and be like, okay, that was a success. Do we get more on, or do you think he's going to stay stock standard ways?
I don't know. Like Jeff is somebody that's got very strong takes and opinions about things, and he's very stubborn in what he wants. So I don't know. I would like to say that he would pay attention to the fans and how the fans are reacting to the players, but I don't think he does. Like, he's got his own favorites, and he makes the show firstly for himself to enjoy, and then everybody else needs to enjoy it with it, or come along. I just don't. I've lost a lot of faith in his ability to listen to the audience, Kahuna. Am I being too harsh on him?
I think if you're looking specific, like what you're looking at wrong is trying to feel, in my opinion, sorry guys, I'm like, you're wrong. No, but like, it's a matter.
How dare you? How dare you come on my podcast? No,
it's not a matter of filling a role. Like, we need X amount of villains, right? And X amount of good guys and X amount of thing. I think I'm onto something here this year when I said that the meta is the podcast meta, the microphone meta. When you have a John Lovett was in one episode, who knows how to, amazing, right? Gabe talks into microphone for a living. Sam talks into a microphone for a living. Rome talks into a microphone for a living. these people know how to entertain, how to tell a story, and know what, or at least they should be, if their mind works in a specific way, because this is how my mind works, is what is the audience going to react to? How do I, like,
Yeah.
this is going to look awesome. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know if we've, as part of the Kahuna law that TNT, like, the fans like to talk about, but one of my secret stories in my past is that I was on Australian Idol
Yeah, I
many
remember you
years ago.
telling us a
Yeah,
few
right.
years. Yeah.
And one of the things was I knew I was a very bad singer. I'm not a good singer. But I knew that I looked good on TV because I was a big dude with a bald head and a spike in my chin and all
You were
this sort of
confident.
thing, right? Like I had a certain image. And I said to the producers, they're like, I'm not a good singer. I'm going to come out of here there and I'm going to lose. They're like, I'm like, how do you want me to play this? Like, what do you mean? I go, do you want me to cry? Like, I can cry if you want me to cry. Or like, they were like, no, thank you. Just be yourself. I'm like, so like these people are the ones that know what production is looking for. They know that they've worked with cameras before. They're comfortable in front of, they know what sells and what looks good and all that sort of thing. And when you have those people, then you get the ones that are willing to be like, the villain thing's going to look really good. I can play the bad guy here, or I can see how playing the hero bit right now will play up really well. And they just know how to work a TV, work a camera, work an audience, because that's kind of how they're driven. And if you get that person that wants to entertain properly, then you get the villains out of that. Then you get the things out of it. And it should be the entertaining person first, rather than going, I need a hero and I need a villain. You know what I mean? That's my take on it.
I didn't actually even know this, Jonathan. Have we talked about how it was only a 1-day episode? No, I didn't even notice that. Jonathan with the
That's
not the owl, but the eagle eye, picking it up for
Jonathan
us.
Gray.
Well,
I'm kind of interested to know, what do you think, Mucky, the twist is going to be next episode? The episode teased the new twist for the next episode, suggesting that the game's format might evolve, keeping viewers and players on their toes with a potential game-changing mechanic being thrown in there. Are we getting a tribe swap? Are we going to 2 tribes? What do you think can we potentially see in this next episode?
Hopefully a good production. That's what I want to see.
We can always hope.
Twist. Yeah.
All the players get to vote if they want Exile Island or Redemption Island to come back into the game.
That'd be so good. I got no clue, to be honest. Yeah, because like, what's new that American Survivor hasn't already done? If it's a million advantages, I've already done that. They're doing that right now. So
it'll just be some small tweak, some small twist on something that's probably, and we can go, and they can say it's never been done before, but it kind of has. Like, that's what I wonder if it's something like that. Like, it's a remix of something that's been done.
Or maybe it'll be like they go to 2 tribes, and Jeff is going to be like, "See, we haven't done this in the new era because that's how we do it on Survivor. We like to change things. We haven't done this since what is that war?" And
Jonathan says, I imagine it will be something like Australian Blood versus Water Challenge when Nina was injured. Okay. That could have had people from both tribes win a reward, then go back to their old tribes later. Yeah, it could be interesting. Could be interesting to see what that's going to be like, but it's like a bit of a nothing burger, to be honest. But I guess they have to milk as much as they can to keep people entertained, keep people tuning in for the next episode. But overall, guys, like, how are we feeling? Let's do a bit of a roundtable here as we start wrapping it up. Like, Kahuna, where are you sitting? 4 episodes into Survivor 47. Are you glad that we haven't completely given up on the new franchise? We're still hanging in there?
Yeah, like, I think everything that we're saying is pretty valid in that our criticisms of the repetition and the same template cookie cutter is 100% valid. It is the same, and it's just feels like the same thing over and over again. But what we say again about making the right casting choices makes all the difference. The season's good. Like, I am enjoying it, and I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. There seems to be a good mix of people that are very competent, or at least seem competent, making big mistakes, overplaying their hand, thinking that they're better than they are. We got the mix of like dummies and idiots that make it fun to watch, and we got big characters like a Rome and that. And more so than other seasons, again, I'm harping on the meta as a podcast because I'm hoping to get you guys onto the show at one point.
Appreciate
is that
it, yeah.
people that can talk well and give really good confessionals are making the show interesting as well, right?
Australian Survivor producers. Listen to Kahuna, the man speaking nothing but facts tonight here on the Nullified Take channel. Maki, what's your thoughts? You know, we brought you back from Survivor No Man's Land to come and watch this season. What's it been like? How's the 4 episodes sort of treating you? 4 episodes. And now, how much are you hating Kahuna and myself for bringing you back?
Well, I was going to say, you actually brought me into Survivor No Man's Land, because No Man's Land is like a dead space where nothing goes on but certain death, and that's been everything inside me since coming back to watching the new era. But it's like there's more people than I like than what I expected. I was expecting I wasn't really going to like anyone because I haven't for the since the new era has started. Really, I was coming in thinking that I wouldn't really like anything. Right, I thought it was just going to be a stock standard new era Survivor show, but hey, I get to talk shit about it with the boys, right? That was my mentality going into it. But no, I do like Rome. I do like Genevieve. I do like Sue. I haven't really spoken much about that, but I do like Sue.
Like anyone.
Yeah, there's no one who I'm like. Yeah, I agree. Like, I don't dislike anyone. There's a lot of people who I'm like, so that's fine. But there are definitely a few characters where I'm like, oh, I actually do like them.
Probably the most, it's funny, like, you know, Tom was saying that, you know, his favorite player is the girl who put the rice in the pocket. I couldn't remember her name for the life of me, but for some of the reason Tom loves that. What's her name again, Kuna? Like,
Rachel?
She hasn't done much, really. That's Rachel. That's the one. Yeah. And apparently that's still his favorite character. Like, I don't know how.
I like her and Annika as the freaking puzzle masters. Like, as long as they're on that team, they've got a shot because no one ever finishes. Yeah, but they smash those puzzles, man. They put them on there. They've got a shot every time. They're like Carson, but without the 3D printer.
If you have 16 of them, nobody's tuning in for Survivor 47. Like, you need some people with, like, I don't know, some personality and spunk. Like, I guess Annika, like, what has she done? Like, maybe I'm being mean. I'm the one that's like the mean one on the podcast. The what?
She lost her vote.
Right. Annika did.
3, I think. Yeah.
So memorable.
Wow, game changer. She lost her vote.
Couldn't remember. But I'm with you boys. Like, I actually think that this has been a very entertaining season so far. Like I said, in spite of production, in my opinion, still not innovating and taking the game to new heights and new places in the way that they put the show together. They somehow got the casting right. I was high on the cast when I did my preseason sort of assessment of it, and that hasn't changed. Like, maybe a few people that I thought would play the game differently compared to what I saw in the preseason, but that's normal. Overall, I'm obviously big on Rome. Probably the Nullified Take channel is Rome's #1 fan podcast. And then if you think about it outside of that, I think Sam's entertaining. I think he's playing a good game. The Sierra-Sam dynamic is interesting to me with Andy. I think that's the more interesting part of the tribe, and I think the one that will last out for the Yellow Tribe. And then, like you said, Sue is, you know, maybe not great at lying about her age, not great at lying about the advantages and things like that, but she is still a compelling character. And for some other reason, I love the fact that she's so bitter and absolutely hates Carl. And she's like, I got to get him back. Like, no matter what he does, he's been so lovely to her after that first blindside. She's like, he's dead to me. I'm taking him out of this game. Tiana's kind of a bit of a below the radar assassin at this stage, but I feel like Gabe's onto her. So I don't know how much legs she's got in this game, but overall, I'm entertained. I think that there is a lot of different ways that the season can turn out. I'm just hoping somehow Rome makes it all the way through until the merge, because I think the longer he's in the game, similar to last season with my love story with Q, Kahuna, the deeper they go into the game, the more entertaining it is going to be, the more chaotic the game should be. I'm here for the chaos. I'm here for the chaos beyond everything else, because most of the time, the player that will win the season is not the one that we see coming. That is how they edit New Age Survivor. We probably will get Rachel or Annika winning this season, to be honest.
As great as Rome is, I don't think he's as chaotic as Q. I don't think anyone can be.
No.
Because I can't ever see Rome being...
Can you imagine them in the same tribe, though? Q and I feel like Rome deserves that karma after how he's treated Soul this episode. We deserve to see Rome and Q in the same tribe for 50.
Like
He deserves
Q,
it.
the big drum that he caused was going from like being on the top to going, just vote me out. I'm sorry, I stuffed up. I made the wrong decision. Vote me out. And it was that back and forth. Rome will never go, vote me out. I made a mistake. Rome will say, I did everything right. You all made the wrong decision there. So there's not. He'll be consistent in that
It was
regard.
the person who was handing me the puzzle pieces. They're the one that stuffed it up, not me. They were giving me the wrong pieces. All right, boys, that's all we have time for here tonight. If you do love the banter, if you do love the content here on the Nullified Take channel, please consider subscribing. It's absolutely free, doesn't cost you a cent. Plus, you'll be supporting a podcast that is still in the up. You know, we haven't quite gotten there yet. We're trying to get to the heights that Rome has achieved here on Survivor this season. We're not quite there. We're like the Annika or the Rachel of the podcasting world. You know, we're still trying to prove ourselves. So hit the subscribe button, put a like on this, and let us know in the comment section below after the live. What did you like? What did you agree with, disagree with? We'd be keen to hear your thoughts on it. And if everything goes well and if the season delivers again, we will be back next week to talk about the big game shaping, twisting event that is going to take place on episode 5. I'm all ears. I can't wait to see what production's got cooked up for us. But for now, grab your torches, head back to camp, guys. We will catch you next time. Bye.